What's up, guys, and welcome back. I just want to apologize that I have not done any videos in a while. I have been pretty busy with work, and unfortunately, in the last week, I've been pretty darn sick. Caught a nasty throat and a cold from someone at a restaurant a week and a half ago, and feel like crap all week, but I'm starting to get better, so excuse the voice if you can notice that. But I figured that I would get back into doing what I love to do, which is make videos for you guys tonight since I'm feeling a little better. And as you can see, we've got a couple of teas that need new homes. These guys have actually needed a new house for quite a while, so we're finally going to get around to that tonight. Uh, Also, by the way, we have an overseer or supervisor to check things out and make sure that I'm doing it all right. This is my female mantis. You may notice that she is a bit free range now. That is because I tried to fix that stupid problem with the back of her enclosure with that little tiny zipper, and I just ended up destroying the enclosure. So now she is just basically a free range pet, and I feed her excuse me, hand feed or tweezer feed her every once in a while, and she just roams around and rewards me with little tiny turds all over the place. But hey, that's okay. So, like I said, we've got a couple of rehousings to do tonight. I am going to go ahead and get things ready, give you time to go get a cold drink, some popcorn, snuggle under a blanket. Get ready, guys. Let's rehouse some tarantulas. Alright, so the two tarantulas that we are going to be rehousing this evening are both the same genus and species. I have two of this particular tarantula. You may recognize, any of you experienced keepers out there may recognize right away the feet, and it might tell you what it is that we have. I get this guy out here so you can look at it a little better. You can see the familiar baboon starburst patterns on the back of this tarantula. Excuse me. You may already know at this point that this is the mira, or the bluefoot baboon tarantula. Both of the ones that I have in my experience are pretty chill. Both of them have bolted out of the enclosure a couple of times. Fortunately, they don't bolt far, and once they've run a few feet or whatever, they realize there's nowhere to go and they just kind of freeze. So they haven't been really bad as far as bolty goes. You can see this one is just pretty chill and compliant for the camera. So with all of that being said, now let's see if I can get this boy or girl, hopefully girl, at least one of them, into the new enclosure. Not sure how this is going to work. Now you'll see this enclosure is just a basic setup. A 32-ounce deli cup. You can see some damp substrate on the bottom with a dry on top, and one pre-made burrow right there with a little bit of moss, basically for water, because this enclosure is not very large space-wise horizontally, so there's not really practically any room for a water dish in there. Plus, these guys live fossorially, so I doubt that it would use the water dish a whole lot. But I don't really think that it needs a hide or plants or anything like that, because like I said, these guys live under the ground. Now let's see if I can figure out, because as usual, I go into this without a plan on how to rehouse. Let me see if I can just move the tarantula into its new home. Now, you may be aware with these guys too that they are kind of a trapdoor fossorial tarantula. They live fossorial, but they will make a trapdoor. Of course, this one does not want to cooperate. But this one here has just made a wide open burrow. You can see it's now buried down in there. And the other one has got a couple of burrows, and then it just lives underground. No real trapdoor. So I'm going to have to rethink this, attack it from a different angle. Once I get this guy out, I'll give you a look at it, and we'll move on. Okay, so I wish I would have actually videoed that, because it went very easy. As you can see, I just put a stick underneath it. It backed out of its burrow, and then I just touched it on the hind end, and it slowly walked right into this vial right here. And you might think, oh, well, maybe it's in a pre-molt or something. Well, that's not the case, because just this morning I fed this little rascal an escaped baby hisser, so I can assure you it is not in a pre-molt, but it is now in a much smaller enclosure for hopefully an easier transfer into its new home. And now the trick is going to be to get it to come out of this enclosure and into its new one. But I have to say, no threat posture, no bolting, anything like that. This guy just walked right into the vial, and now it just does not want to leave the vial. Nope, there we go. Wait, nope. It's really shy about whether it wants to come out or not. So as you can see, at least so far, these guys are a pretty tolerant baboon species. Well, I think I'm just going to leave that in there, let it come out on its own, because don't want to stress the animal. Stress the animal anymore. But as you can see, they are pretty calm and tolerant so far, at least in my experience. So I'm going to leave that one in there and let it come out on its own. Maybe it'll come out by the end of the video, but let's move on to the next one. So as you can see, the second one is out as well. Let's see if it will do the same thing that the other one did and maybe go right into the vial. And all it wants to do is just kind of run in circles. Man, that other one just went so nice and easy right into the vial. I couldn't believe it, especially for an old world, But you can see, again, these guys are pretty tolerant. And as I mentioned with the bolt, they will usually do a short bolt, and that is it.